There's something I figured out growing up in small-town Midwest America. Every place has its secret, and that secret never really dies. I was born in Blackwood Creek. Sounds almost poetic, doesn't it? In reality, it's a 1,800-person dot on the map, sandwiched between endless cornfields and a stretch of old-growth timber that's been there longer than anyone can remember. Nothing special about the place, except for one thing we kids used to whisper about on hot summer nights: the hollow men. The legend went like this: impossibly tall figures, thin as dried corn stalks, built from rotting husks and river silt, walking the tree line after midnight. And if one of them knocked 3 times on your bedroom window, your family owed the town a debt. By morning, you'd wake up with your lungs packed full of topsoil. Growing up, I laughed it off. We all did. We used to dare each other to sprint into the woods past midnight just to prove we weren't scared. Kid stuff, small town nonsense. Until last week, when I found out none of it was nonsense at all. My family runs a scrap and cleaning business. Last month, the town council voted to demolish the old municipal building, a squat red brick relic from the 1920s that had been sitting empty since the flood of '97. My buddy Nic and I took the contract to clear out the basement archives before the demolition crew moved in. That basement was damp, dark, and there was something about the air down there that kept tightening the back of my throat every time I breathed. Behind a row of rusted filing cabinets stuffed with water bills from the '70s, Nic accidentally kicked a heavy steel deposit box wedged against the far wall. The lock had rotted off years ago. Inside, wrapped in a yellowed oilskin cloth, was a thick leather-bound book, and the gold lettering on the spine was still unnervingly sharp. Town of Blackwood Creek, official ledger, 1980 to 1985. We figured it was budget records, old council minutes maybe. I flipped to October 1982, and the handwriting changed. Gone was the dry administrative script. These pages were laid out in 2 columns. Yield on the left, designation on the right. The penmanship was still neat, still careful, but what it was, recording made me go completely still in that damp, rotting basement. October 12th, 1982. Yield, North Ridge harvest, 4,200 bushels. Standard quota met. Note: a low whistle was heard near the silo at 3 a.m. The perimeter holds. October 19th, 1982. Yield, North Ridge harvest, 1,100 bushels. Early frost loss. Deficit, 72% short of quota. Designation, Town Council, convened at midnight. The ledger demands balance. Subject selected. Hayes Michael, age 9. My hands went cold. I read it again, then a 3rd time. Michael Hayes. The uncle I'd only ever known as a name. The one my grandmother spent her whole life believing had run away. Hopped a freight train toward Columbus sometime in the winter of 1982. She died, still believing that. I kept reading. My grip on the book tightened with every page. October 21st, 1982. Designation, transaction complete. Note: Michael Hayes delivered to the tree line at 2:45 a.m. The hollow men accepted the substitute for the lost grain. Earth was smooth by morning. Next season's soil guaranteed rich. I went through every year. Every bad harvest had a name beside it. 1980, Sanger Clara. age 82. 1982, Hayes Michael E., age 9. 1984, Vance Sarah, age 17. These weren't characters from a campfire story. These were real people. And the men who ran this town weren't afraid of the Hollow Men. They were doing business with them. The night it all came together, Nic and I carried the ledger up to my truck. We sat there without saying a word for a long time. Rain hammered the windshield, the only sound between us. "This has to be some sick joke," Nic finally said, his voice coming out smaller than usual. "Some twisted thing the old council made up to mess with each other." "My uncle disappeared that exact week, Nic." I said it quietly. "Look at the dates." He didn't have an answer for that. And right then, my phone buzzed in my pocket. A county-wide weather alert. Severe drought conditions warning. Crop yield projected 60% below average for the upcoming fall harvest. I looked up from the screen toward the tree line at the edge of the scrap lot. It was standing there, nearly 8 feet tall, so thin its frame looked like it might splinter apart in a strong wind. Its joints bent at angles that made my stomach turn. Directions the human body simply cannot bend. Where a face should have been, there was only a hollow cavity, dark and empty, lined with dry corn husks that rustled faintly even though the air was still. It wasn't moving. It was just standing there at the very edge of my headlights, waiting. Then, cutting right through the sound of the rain, slow and deliberate and impossible to mishear. Tap, tap, tap. 3 knocks on the passenger window. I'm writing this from my kitchen. Every light in the house is on. Nic left about an hour ago, but his mother just called me. He never came inside. His driver's side door is still hanging open in the driveway. I think they know we took the book. The rain stopped a few minutes ago, and now, from somewhere near the kitchen window, the knocking has started again. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know this much. This town was never really ours to begin with.